A 39-year-old Milwaukee man has been charged with sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl who is now 7 months pregnant. Derek Alligator faces 25 to 40 years in prison on one count of first-degree sexual assault of a child under 12. He was in jail Wednesday on a $15,000 bail. According to the criminal complaint, the victim lived with her grandmother, who is Gator's girlfriend. This case is still under investigation.
Jacob Rogers seemingly confessed to the crime of his roommate's murder on Facebook, but in court on Wednesday, March 25th, he pleaded not guilty in the murder of his roommate. 27-year-old Andrew Jones, Rogers, is charged with first-degree intentional homicide and possession of firearm by a felon. Andrew Jones was found dead of multiple gunshot wounds. Police learned the apartment was wired for video and the crime was caught on camera. Rogers is set to stand trial in this case.
Over the weekend, on Sunday evening, the annual MUSG debate was held on the first floor of the AMU.
The debate was made up of candidates running for next year's MUSG presidential and vice presidential positions. Sitting on the left is ticket number 3 were Daniel Bernard and Estefania Elizondo. In the middle, represent number 1 were Aliyah Manji and Zachary Wallace. On the right for ticket number 2 had vice presidential candidate Ricky Krajewski present, but alongside Julia Marcuna.
Well, we're very lucky tonight because we have some of the candidates here in our studio. They're ready, so let's send it over to Hallie Gordon with Zach and Aliyah. Guys?
Yeah. Thanks, Erin. I'm sitting here with MUSG presidential and executive vice presidential candidates Aliyah Manji and Zachary Wallace. So you guys, the elections are just around the corner. Tomorrow, actually. You just had the debate on Sunday. Start by, how did you think the debate went? What did you think of that?
Yeah, well, we just want to say thank you guys for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to chat. I think the debate went really well. I think all the candidates performed very well, and I think it was great that we got to talk about our platform, what we hope to achieve, what we hope to do for students, as well as, I thought one of the greatest things about it was that there was a question that's never been asked before is, what can we do for the Marquette community and our surrounding community, which was really great. So I was excited that that question was asked.
I feel the same way about it.
Of course, yes, thank you. Yeah, I want to touch on that a bit, because I know you did talk a lot about, community engagement, student involvement, specifically maybe what do you want to do to accomplish that?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think just one thing to keep in mind is that Marquette students, I think that one thing that we all share is a real passion for change, and we can really be a catalyst for that change within our immediate surrounding neighborhood. We can make positive impacts, and so Ollie and I have, worked with MUSG and other students to try and bring about that change. And so a couple of things that we'd like to move forward with, advocating for a grocery store to be brought to our area. As you guys are probably aware, it is an FDA food desert. I think with Dr. Lovell's leadership and your Westside Partners, that's coming to fruition, but that's kind of a long-term goal. Shorter-term goal is that we'd like to do is still provide fresh and healthy access to produce for not only Marquette students, but our community through our continued partnership with Growing Power that we started this year. But you have any other community engagement ideas?
Yeah, well, this year, Zach is a legislative vice president. He actually made an ad hoc committee for the called the Community Engagement Committee, and that's been really successful. I actually chair that committee, and we've done a student government mentorship program with a school in Avenues West, a WCLL, the Wisconsin Conservatory of Lifelong Learning, and we're also in the process of planning our neighborhood cleanup, Avenues West neighborhood cleanup, and we definitely want to make that a Marquette tradition. The next one is actually this Saturday from 10 to 1, so given the little pitch for that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think our community engagement really reflects what we've done in MUSG in the past and what we want to do in the future.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it was a pleasure. Please make sure to vote tomorrow. Tom and Erin, back to you.
Thank you very much for that interview, Hallie. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll have your latest campus stories of what happened this last week.
And still ahead, Michael Biermeister will host the next interview with candidates Estefania Elizondo and Daniel Bernard. Stay tuned.
So how do you plan to work with some of these student leaders and student organizations to help make their experience here at Marquette better and make them feel more comfortable and included?
Oh, absolutely. So What we want to do to start off is we need to bring all the leaders to the table. So we want to bring in the student leaders that are working currently with the Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Justice Committee, both of the Student Ad Hoc Coalition, bring in the leadership for the Center Intercultural Engagement, as well as the Presidential Task Force. By bringing all of these experts to the table, we can effectively address everything that's going on campus as well as at a national level in terms of diversity and inclusion at Marquette.
Oh, it's an interesting thing that you picked Daniel Bernard as your running mate, and he's kind of an outsider looking in at MUSG. So just tell me why you picked him and what you think he will bring to the table if you guys are elected.
I think he's actually the best possible running mate. Here's why. All the other candidates, while I very much respect them, they are internal candidates, and there is groupthink. So what we want to do is really bring an outside voice that's going to look at MUSG as an organization critically, with a fresh mind, bringing in ideas, not knowing exactly how it is the MUSG culture, precisely because we want to change it.
Interesting choice there. So that is all the time we have right now. Sorry, Estefania, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure talking to you. Now we'll send it back to Tom in the studio. Tom, what do you got for us?
Well, the search committee for the next Dean of Business Administration has named 4 finalists who will visit campus for public presentations. The finalists are Dr. Kevin Stevens from DePaul University, Dr. Noreen Sharp from Georgetown University, Dr. Eric Morse from Ivy Business School at Western University, and Dr. Brian Till from Williams College of Business at Xavier University. Online feedback forms for each of the candidates will be available online soon.
Marquette University's Department of Public Safety recommends using caution when conducting internet transactions, including those on Craigslist. Marquette recommends to meet in public places and take someone with you when meeting with people you met online. Never allow someone to meet you at your residence. Public Safety and the Milwaukee Police Department have made their official lobbies available to conduct transactions.
Well, the temperature's really been kind of jumping up and down. So when we come back from the break, Andrew Goldstein will have your weather report, and hopefully we'll have warmer weather as we go on Easter break next week.
And we'll present an interview of the last 2 MUSG candidates, Julia Marcoon, Ricky Krajewski. All that plus more. Exiting Milwaukee stories around town. Stay tuned.
Hello there, everybody. I'm MUTV weatherman Andrew Goldstein. We're going to take a look at what's happening outside your window today. First broadcast after the vernal equinox. March 21st has passed. It is spring. It feels so great, doesn't it, folks? Yes, it does. That's your answer. Let's take a look at what's going on today. Temperature, a manageable 44 degrees. You don't have to dress like you're trekking through Siberia anymore. Dew points at 32. That's manageable. Winds, check out these winds, only at 6 miles per hour. I mean, when you're walking over the bridge from Straz and wherever, the wind's howling at 20, 30 miles per hour, you know how uncomfortable that can be. So the fact that they've died down so much with the arrival of spring, it's a nice change, let's put it that way, but it's not going to stay that way for forever. And we're going to take a look at that later in the broadcast. So here is the historical information for today. High of 45, low of 34. It's almost perfectly on base with what we should expect for March in Milwaukee. Average temperature for your high is 46, average low is 30. We got nowhere near our high or low records. Geez, 79 degrees, man, I want that. But we're gonna have to wait a few more months for that. And as you can see, the sunset is 7 p.m. nowadays. So I'm gonna step off real quick so you could see the left coast. 57.4 in Seattle, 57.3 in San Francisco, 45.6 over in Denver, 42.7 in Chicago, 41 on the East Coast in New York City, although that's going to get much warmer next week. So if you're going home to the East Coast, you should expect to arrive to 60s and even 70s. It's going to be very nice there. Speaking of 60s and 70s, that's what it is across the Southeast. 67 in Atlanta, 75 down in Memphis. Now, let's take a look at some of the Wisconsin temperatures. Eau Claire, 39. Wausau, 36. Green Bay, a very balmy 41. Milwaukee, 45. Madison, 46. I mean, obviously, these temperatures aren't where we want them to be yet necessarily, but these are manageable, folks. I mean, it was like 0 degrees just a month ago, so, you know, have mercy. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 34 degrees, winds west at 10 miles per hour. So if you're walking to Rainer, maybe don't do the heavy winter jacket, but if you want to put on a hoodie, if you want to put on like a light fall jacket, that would probably be advisable. You don't want to go out there in t-shirt and jeans just yet, unless you have, unless your arms and legs are made of sterner stuff than mine are, which is entirely possible. Now, let's take a look at how things are shaping up tomorrow morning. 36 degrees, partly cloudy, winds coming out of the northwest at 12 miles per hour. So same outfit as you put on tonight will probably work for tomorrow as well. Just bundle up a little bit. It will be getting warmer over the day tomorrow, but your early morning classes may be a little bit chilly. Speaking of, let's take a look at the 5-day. 43 on Thursday, Friday 32, Saturday 36, but you can see Sunday and Monday right over there, 49 and 55. We are warming up in a major way going into next week. It'd be nice if it were 70 now, but you know, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, then we'd all have a happy holidays now, wouldn't we? But it is getting warmer, and that's the important part. We're finally out of winter, folks. I'm MUTV weatherman Andrew Goldstein, and we are Marquette. Now, over to the news.
Hi, I'm Erin Newhengen. Right now, I'm currently here with Ricky and Julia, who are both running for president and vice president. Now let's talk about the low voter turnout. You mentioned at the debate that one of your campaign's goals was to get students more involved with MUSG and get MUSG members out into the community. How would you go about doing this, or do you have an example of how MUSG members can better connect with the general Marquette population on a regular basis?
Yes, so this is a really important part of our platform is outreach and accessibility. Students shouldn't have to come to us with their problems. We should be out in the community, out on campus, and really available for students to come with our concerns. So a few ways that we want to do this. Senators should be getting out on campus and proactively addressing student concerns and finding out the problems. Students shouldn't have to come to us first. So we really want to get senators to have office hours outside of the office with their constituents. And then we also want to have MUSG more visible on campus, such as tabling in the AMU upstairs, tabling in other academic buildings, to really get us out there on campus so students don't feel like they have to come to our office to find us.
Neat. Now, what do you think would be an effective way to get students into more Senate meetings? Right now, there isn't much publicity about when meetings actually are.
So definitely increasing publicity about.
Okay, welcome back. Let's get into our actual homicide story now. Oh, my mistake. That's all the time we have. We'll see you next week. Good night, Mark.